Ladies and gents, good evening. Welcome to Question Time Live. How are you all? I hope you're well. Now, I've gone and done one of my usual daft old tricks here. Please just let me know. Are we streaming okay? Have we got sound? Is the picture okay? I've decided to do something I've been wanting to do for a while now, and move the streaming setup to where I am finally going to be building a proper full-blown studio over at our retail unit, where we do have visitors every now and again, of course, for our events. So, and I decided this, I think, get it done about 2 hours before I'm due to come on. I had the cameras up at the fish farm. I got a load of equipment in a completely other place as well. Madness. So I literally I had a focusing issue then, and I don't know how it sounds terrible in here, but for those of you who have visited, you'll know the room. I'm planning on, we're actually going to put a stud wall up inside so I can actually get this. It's a really quiet place where we are, get the stud wall in, up, have its own door. It's going to be completely shut off, soundproof all the walls, get it all done. It's going to finally be a place I can leave all my kit out. Happy days. So, but yeah, I was literally scrambling then right to the last minute to get sorted. Managed to throw a few bits in. So this is far, far, far from done. Sound is going to be the big one that I'll be working on. That is for sure. But nonetheless, I am here. And yeah, can't see. What's that, Terry? Oh yeah. No, we won't be able to see it, mate. Don't worry. It's all going to get done properly. So yeah, just about everything went wrong then 10 minutes before. But hey, there we are. So I hope you're all doing well. Carl, we're a turbid time with the weather at the moment, aren't we? It's really, really tipping it on its head. And I think it's going to start steering back to a conversation around heating. And I think it's important in koi keeping right now in general for that ultimate control. I think that's the really, really important part in all this. I've just experienced a little bit of myself. We haven't had the journal video out yet, but the heating system at the farm completely failed. Now, I've been having issues with it ever since the previous plumbers who did the install from start to the last extension. And yeah, the last extension was the bit where it really, really has fucked it up. Now, ever since you saw that get done, ever since it's been done, it's not worked properly. And we got coming down to, I believe balancing was a massive issue, just wasn't done across the whole system. So anyway, it got worse than that because how they'd installed the boiler, it had been sitting in damp and it had actually started leaking as well, I think for numerous reasons. And it was actually leaking out of the internal heat exchanger. Absolute disaster. And when I got back from Japan, it got to the point where it was pissing out of the heat exchanger. So we ended up with it turned off. I just run it until it eventually stopped itself. And yeah, disaster. Luckily, I'd already engaged with a new firm, big firm that's come in, and they'd highlighted all the problems. It never actually been designed properly. I think it was just winging it. And the last bit is where it really, really came unstuck. So nonetheless, they've been in like the A-team again, got a load of it fired up. I've now got 2 boilers, not just the one, because after some calculations, crazy maths this, a -2 air temperature, trying to warm all that up from cold, I would have needed around 700 kilowatts of heat power, which is about 10 of those boilers that I've got. So we've based it off some other calculations because it's fair to say that's not really really viable or possible. And yeah, they've got it in now. It is actually firing one boiler, but with all the new balancing valves fitted, I mean, just that alone, you think. I looked them up because the quote wasn't particularly itemized, and they're like £130 a piece, the ones they'd quoted for. You think fair enough, but when you need 42 of them, it becomes a bit of a different beast. However, like I say, it's firing, and I think it's actually rectified some of the issues we had before we thought we had with motorized valves and all kinds of things like that. But I did get a taste of what koi keeping would be like at this time of year. Even for me, it really wound the clock back without having that heating. And I didn't like it. I'd be looking at a long, long period where I couldn't do a lot of the stuff I love to do. And even from a business perspective and just from a personal perspective as well, it'd be massively damaging for the business being kind of offline really for such a long period of time. So very pleased that's all backfiring. But how that translates to you guys, I think is probably starting to steer that conversation back to how important it is to have that control. And I will still always stand by, not necessarily for winter, but more so now for this time of year, sort of spring, summer and autumn, more so than winter. But even if you're not hitting the big temperatures, just to have the control and give it the stability is the absolute most important thing in all that for me. So yeah, I'm not going to labour that one too much, ladies and gents, because of course it is question time. So as well as answering your questions, as always, I'm going to have a bit of I'm not going to say a ramble. Let's call it more a bit of heart to heart with you guys, the loyal followers. You're in there every week. A lot of you when I'm doing question times, following all the videos. And I've been in a bit of an interesting place with all this at the moment. Been kind of reflecting since Aaron left. It's kind of left me in a spot. I don't think I'm still mourning that loss, to be honest. And it's just mean that I'm not being able to do the things I want to do and like to do with the channel, where we're just building towards some interesting stuff, some changes. And yeah, they've all had to get parked. I am, however, the job applications that have come through have been phenomenal, and there seems to be some amazing candidates for that. So hopefully, I am going to be interviewing next week. Hopefully, we find somebody who's going to be the right fit for us. But it's allowed me a bit of time just to recap on where I'm at with the YouTube stuff. I think it's important here to separate me with the business that I operate, or businesses that I operate, because before I kind of got into this YouTube stuff, and with one hell of a mission, the reason it became too much, I was sitting watching content on Facebook more than anything, amongst groups and forums and stuff like that, and people just running riot with poor quality information, and even seeing some videos on YouTube. And I thought, well, if nobody from the industry is going to fill the space, then these people are going to run riot, and they're going to get attention. It's how it's going to be. So fired straight into it, as we did with that and Project Koi Talk and the whole shebang. And obviously it went absolutely mad, as it is still doing. I think as of today, we're currently at, I can't remember if it's 3.3 or 3.6 million views on the channel since it started. It's absolute madness in all reality. And it's very inspiring in that respect. But obviously, I had already run Koi Wholesale successfully for, I think it was 9 years before I started with any social media stuff, and still continue to do so in the background. It's just, this is almost a bigger part of it. And for me, I have to have some kind of mission driving all this. And then it was misinformation. And to be honest, it still is now. I have a massive gripe with it, with the amount of bullshit out there. But as I've took a bit of time since Aaron's left and zoomed out, I've started feeling a little bit disconnected to some degree. It's been an interesting year with it. I think it's in a spot right now with the social media and Koi where there is a massive, there's just so much content. It's flooded. I'd get to the point of saying there's an oversupply of content, in all honesty. Every man and the dog now is firing a camera up and rambling, a lot of the time rambling shit in front of it. Certainly more from the business perspective. I've always separated this, because big love to all you hobbyists who get the camera out and share your journeys. I think as a hobbyist community, you need that amongst yourselves. A lot of this more comes from the trade side of it, when we see a lot of the fucking mugs who are getting attention as well, should I say, frightens the life out of me. Absolute zero credibility, zero experience, We've seen several, I think, learning in front of camera. And then just seeing how this trade, now I would never, ever, ever regard myself as a YouTuber. I'd be quite upset if anybody ever called me that, in all honesty. I'm an operator. I'm in the trade. I'm just about to become, or let's say I've become a koi breeder in Japan. That's where this all sits for me. The YouTube side of it, I have to have drive and motivation and a feeling of a cause. And I've got to say, with a lot, been feeling a little bit overwhelmed, even myself, with the sheer amount of shit, and feeling like it's, with the way the kind of platforms change a little bit, it's almost becoming difficult to put out enough and be a voice that does go beyond and try and break through all that bullshit. People trying to sell stuff, sell agendas, whatever it is. Yeah, felt quite tired, fatigued, gone back to the drawing board, looked at all my own stuff and gone, is the messaging enough? Have we gone down a wrong path with it? I am very self-critical, like to analyze, and even asked, in all honesty, if it's all worth it when such fucking idiots manage to get the ears and attention of so many, which is, yeah, I think it's frustrating, to be honest, especially when you start digging in, even just without watching the videos, you dig into the comments and see that people are actually falling for it up line and sinker. It's quite fascinating. And then it's obviously I am who I am as well. I think you've learned that. And it got to an interesting point this year. There's been a couple of big sort of trends fly through, questions relating to certain products that have flown in at question time at times. And I've really looked at that and just gone, should I be, on here like everybody else? Because that's what it's been, one after another, jumping on the fucking bandwagon, shaking the shiny packets of either of all these different products that come out. There's been a testing one that we've got banded around, and the fact that these products just get thrown on a video before anybody's even done anything with it. I question if I've even got the ability to properly analyze any of this stuff either and make judgment. But that's how it is. That's part of the game. That's what it is. And obviously all these questions come in, and I am the way I am. I say what I see. I do what I do. I'm never going to change what I do because, let's face it, there's a philosophy here that I'm basically preaching to you guys. And I think to go and change it would make me look a bit disingenuous and a bit of a twat. And why do I need to? The results are proven. I tweak all the time. I'm constantly trying to tweak, but in the right areas. And it got to the point where a couple of these things, I'm like, do I need to be, as being present on YouTube, do I need to be delving into some of this stuff to give you guys the answers that you want, to try and break through the bullshit, give the proper analysis? And then that side kind of comes into conflict with the side where I'm going, well, no, because I'm also, I'm a koi nut at the heart of it. I'm a dealer breed. I'm operating. I'm raising fish, and I know what's best. I've done it for so long with so many different things, seen so many different products, trends, crazes come and go by now. I know the constants, and my own formula is so tried and tested as well over such a period of time. But it did leave me a bit confused, because you see all this going on, and I can't obviously give the answers to it either. But and it just reminded me, on one of the last videos, one of these cropped up again, and I kind of state the same thing. Don't really know it, but obviously I understand how a lot of these things work, and I just tied it back into my philosophy and how such products and bit don't fit within my philosophy of koi keeping, which, let's face it as well, there's just an insane track record behind it all. But that aside, and then you fire your phone up. I don't go on Facebook a lot, not delving in, and fire Messenger up, and there's some jumped up twerp who seems to be a part of such a product or whatever it is, or wanting to hide behind it, telling me that I know naffle, why you digging my product out again and shit like that. And you just see all that, and I just think, why the fuck do I want to be involved in bullshit like that? Fucking madness. Honestly, at times, if you saw some of the bullshit, and I'd like to think, well, I am, me and the team, massively removed from it all, because we're cut off. been an interesting part since I've done the whole social media thing, is learning that for every person that loves you, 5 out there without even knowing me will think I'm an absolute prick. And I'm at peace with that, because ultimately when all the cameras go off, I go home, I enjoy my family, I love my life every day, I enjoy what I do to the maximum every day. And I know a lot of that shit also gets driven by jealousy, and it's quite sad. And I also know there is an amazing community of you guys who tune in all the time and watch the videos after, that love and appreciate all of it. But you look at all that and just think, fucking hell. You know, I know other people who are on the YouTube thing who get caught in some crossfires of shit when they've said something people don't like. And yeah, it's a hell of a game, is what I'd call it. But it had just left me just recently, you know, re-looking and thinking, what the fuck? Where do we even go with all this? And in truth, I think, again, because I've not got Aaron in the office or somebody there helping push that drive, I need to feel like we're pushing hard all the time. But yeah, and to be honest, I've come out of it then in the past few days and just with a reinvigoration, hence throwing all this in here today, getting it done and thinking, if I don't, and I don't care what anyone thinks when I say this, if I don't, there is that voice cutting through that shit. You know, even internally, sort of Chris conversations we've had pointing out like, that's not your job. But I feel like it is, you know, and a lot's changed. I look back on a lot we did, people I had involved in channels and bits at time, and you realize very quickly everybody just seems to have their own fucking agenda and shit going on. And I've encountered that in my own life, business life as well. It's not just on YouTube, that because I'm a person who does tend to give a lot, give up front, give trust up front as well. And it's amazing how you just get shat on at crazy levels. And then on top of it all, you know, just the general positivity. This is where I've struggled as well, because I could come on here and rant. I feel like I'm ranting now, but I feel like I could fucking rant every week about fucking knobheads, bullshit, toxicity. I watch, you know, a lot of Man United content. You could quite imagine it's one of the things I do consume. And that one's quite tough. And there's a few people there with that kind of stuff. And Mark Goldbridge being one. And there's a couple of guys I watch and I see him, and yeah, I think now I don't want to turn into that, because there's a real negative vibe and toxicity around it. But it's quite hard to keep being positive sometimes, and then in wanting to not bring the kind of tone and pull people down and all the rest of it and seem negative, because the whole point, again, promote the hobby, promote enjoyment, hassle-free in the hobby. It gets a bit tough. So anyway, I'm not quite sure what that bottom line of it's come, and I'm looking forward to getting somebody in, doubling down on all this, in all honesty. I think you've probably seen in a couple of videos the keep it simple mantra. I've started really bringing it back. I think as I have looked and reviewed, and I really have gone in depth, seeing what's worked on the channel. You see, my kind of whole vibe with the channel is that I've always just made videos based on what I thought would be cool to do. And yes, need a cuddle. And I think obviously it dives in. That's not necessarily always what you guys want. And I think that's probably an angle I'm going to look at a little bit more, is giving you guys what you want. Just to make sure you're getting the most out of the content that I do produce. But yeah, doubling down is going to be a big one. There's going to be a hell of a lot more of keep it simple, cutting the crap. I've probably gone a bit softer, I'd say. A few of you might disagree with that, but wanting to not get too political and rip people and anything like that, kind of avoid things. But no, fuck that now. It's I'm fed up of suffering fools and tolerating fucking idiots who are pulling down the industry that I love. It's ingrained in my DNA. So yeah, prepare for it. F's, Jeff's, energy, magazine back. There's the one, right? While I'm on this, because this has been on my mind big time, and it's been part of the discussions, because I feel like the podcast has been missing fucking big time in all this, and the magazine and what the magazine brought. Now, I currently still, from when that magazine stopped, I'm letting a lot of people down with that, the fuck ups with that last issue. It's complicated. There was a lot of shit going on. It's cost me a lot of money. And then in amongst it all, the thing that's really gone on with the delays is me being how I am and thinking, if I'm bringing this back, and I have all intention of bringing it back, because if I wasn't, by now I would have just refunded everybody their money in relation to that last issue. Although it's not a big amount, it's still not the point. So I have actually been working, as the lads at the farm starting to do a phenomenal job without me being there so much and so involved in all the sales and all the rest of it. Been working hard on rectifying those issues and getting the stuff done behind the scenes in order to make Koi Talk as a digital brand and magazine brand as well viable. So when I do fire that baby back up, it just goes and goes and goes and goes. Yes, Carl, the fucking piss is simmering, mate. It's boiling over. And I think the podcast was actually, it was a good therapy session for me. We did have some good rants, didn't we? And I think it's been missing. So that's actually part of this room, this space. We've got plenty of it here to actually get a studio built out properly and get it going. So yeah, on that side, that is the big bit. The doubling down is the rebirth of that, for sure. Letting me rectify the wrong from where it all ended, and I will be doing that in the way that I said, with the extra additional issue as well. And then we're coming back, and we're coming back big time. Now, one of the good things behind the scenes, again, not forgetting that I do operate, the retail business now, Koi Online, as well as Koi Wholesale, which is absolutely thriving still. And now setting up a koi farm in Japan. Man, I've got some exciting news coming there very soon. But the successful spawning this year, the Koi Talk's going to be a big part of it. Let's say been doubling down, and we're going to go and get it done. But there's another guy who's going to be coming into the fold with me with Koi Talk, which is actually going to be, and I'm so fucking excited for this, because I think part of the frustration, when I zoom out on the industry, again, separating you guys as hobbyists, the actual trade side of the industry, I think we've pushed and pushed and pushed so much and done so much, starting back from with the live auctions. I pretty much brought the concept to selling koi through WhatsApp, then WhatsApp auctions, the development of all that. It's being copied to a crazy degree. And it almost gets a bit tiring, because I like to think we're at the forefront of everything we're doing. And then there's one element of all that and problems, as you can quite imagine, selling koi at the scale that we do, a lot of problems we've had this year. And talking about it behind the scenes, trying to fix the problems with systems and making it work and flow. It's crazy. And we fixed a lot of them, but the big bit has been kind of on the tech side. And when I started Koi Online, there was a real reason for doing it. It's not real the iteration you've seen. There was an idea behind the concept of you buying koi, sat on the other side of this screen, sat at home or wherever you are in the UK, in the world, whatever it is. And it's tough. And this hasn't just been between Koi Talk and the selling koi part. The first iteration of Koi Talk was a website. I'm not sure anybody on it will even remember it. And I invested so heavily in this. I had a business partner who was a web developer. We really went for it, but I had too much going on at the time. Arthur had just been born. Harriet was coming along. It was freaking madness. And it failed miserably. And I knew back then it felt like it needed something more tangible. And that's where I cooked the idea of the actual printed magazine up. So that all kind of went on, and I've lost my thread there a little bit. That's why I know I'm rambling too much now. Sorry, the guy coming in. Yeah, so that and this web stuff and all bits and bobs I wanted to do, there's just not quite the solutions out there. And I look at so many of them all the time, never just quite do what we need them to do to tailor the right experience. And yeah, I got close a couple of years ago with someone who turned out to be an absolute plonker. And then that plonker tried to nick my idea and set up with somebody else who was in the business with me. Fucked off doing their own thing. That was quite remarkable. But even that at the time wasn't the full-blown idea of what is coming. And I'm glad to say a guy from within the community reached out to me a few months ago. And the way in which he did it was quite remarkable, really got my attention. And we've been having some chat since. And all being well, it's all going on in the background. He's going to be my new partner in Koi Talk, the business, and in the development side of what we're doing. And the platform we currently have, it's in testing at the moment. We're just building out the UX properly, but there is something substantial there. That's not for Koi Talk. That is for the way in which we will be selling Koi online. And it's likely to be in the beta test version for you guys to get your hands on before the end of the year. I'm actually hoping that by the end of October, we might be getting to use it. And I really can't wait because I think it's just going to set an absolute crazy new bar and be something that you guys are just going to absolutely love. So all that aside, yes, Danny, let the haters hate. It's not even so much that, mate. That just is what it is. Honestly, a lot of the frustration comes in when I see such poor and bad misinformation and it getting some form of traction. Fucking, it honestly drives me. It drives me potty. And there we go. And we know there's a couple of individuals out there who's been in front of that camera and just needs shutting the fuck down. There's been one I got sent to me the other day that this said individual seems to have tried his hand at another trade now and fucking that up as well. But hey ho, there we go. So that's my therapy. Thank you all for listening. Let me chew your ear off, all 140 odd of you, as that was just then. And yeah. Let's get actually stuck into some koi keeping stuff. But one last one before I do. Miss Toyota, my spawning in Japan. It's not going to be long now before the final harvest of that comes. This weekend, we've set out the plans for an event, for a release. I'm going to let 50 pieces of them go. And they're going to be grown on by me over here. It's going to be 50 of the best ones. So they're going to be in a pond where I'm pushing them through to Jumbo Tosai by the end of next year. Doing it for a mega price, 295 quid. And that's going to include you growing through to end of March as well. I wanted to do it. I didn't want to go mad for the level I'm going to pick out. Probably underselling them or underpricing them for where they'll be. But you guys have followed it. You've been along with it. And I want you to be able to be a part of it big time. So, yeah, stay tuned. I don't know. I'm likely going to drop this one on Saturday in the Koi Online WhatsApp group. So there is a link in there for that one. We're actually going to be tying in the first of our Koi shows on the same weekend we do the selection event in November. So I've mentioned this. I need to do a lot more on this at the moment. So the Koi show concept is where we are already been selling fish and we'll be selling more through our WhatsApp channel and the website, the Koi Online website, where you guys can get the fish and basically pay a reasonable fee and keep it at the farm with me, where I'll be conditioning it for a 12-month period, and there'll be multiple shows throughout that 12-month period where you possibly have the chance to enter it into. We handle absolutely everything from our side as well. All you have to do is turn up on the day and enjoy it, and see if you can win yourself a prize with the fish that you've picked. So I'm going to do a deeper dive on that soon. I'm not going to take up any more time, but just a heads up that that's coming, and make sure you are in that Koi Online WhatsApp group if you want to get a piece of the action. I do believe there's a link in here. If not, there is in one of the other videos anyway. I absolutely assure you of that. Now, enough of that. Half an hour of rambling absolute shite. Let's have a look. So I'll go through from the top as always, and let's see who's here. Paul, even everyone, Paul. Oh yeah, covers shitter, isn't it? Absolute shitter. I just can't believe how quickly it's turned on us. Absolutely crazy. Rad, good evening. First time in months managed to finish work. Happy days, mate. Mickey's here. Let's fire through some of these so we can get to a question. Gotta say though, this room I'm in is a little bit on cold side. I have to rectify that. All right, picture and sound's all been good. Yeah, been nice and stable as well. We've got a fantastic internet connection here as well. Fiber to property, which was all done again for these purposes. Sounds fine. Happy days. Even all that curiosity, what's the biggest fish you've ever grown at the farm, and what's the biggest you currently have? It's still swimming around actually, 82 centimeter Taniguchi Sankey. I think a few of you on the Koi Online group saw that as well, because I did offer it out for sale a little while back, and it is actually the biggest one there. Think followed by, that's a good question. We're actually going to drop down a bit. I think we'll be more around the 75 cm mark after that, because I wanted the biggest things out the way. And quite a few of the big lumps have gone to owners that were swimming around as well. So yeah, currently that Sankey still at 82 does need a new home. It might well be coming to a prize draw soon. Who knows? I just wouldn't like. I'd like it. It's not in a particularly big pond. It needs to be getting gone. So either that, or I might stick a very special deal on that one soon to try and get it a new home. Johnny, hi Ricky. Do bigger fish react to the cold quicker? My heel sorry doesn't seem bothered last few days as the temper's crashed. The rest are up feeding as normal. Yeah, it can do. I've seen bigger fish when we had a lot of problem with the freezers, heavy freezers and stuff. It's big fish that seem to get hit. I'm not exactly sure why. I have seen that pattern, however. So all I would say is it might just be worth easing back on all the food in general, just letting your filters, or letting everything readjust to the cooler temp, because it's the filter performance. You're going to have a massive drop off. Johnny, I presume you've tested your water as well. Just make sure you're monitoring things there, because honestly, this is the biggest problem with the unheated ponds. It's how the filter can become so unstable with the fluctuating temperatures in relation to your feeding, and often how some of the fish actually behave in the water temperatures versus and how they would feed versus what your filter can actually handle. Caroline, I might have missed it, but can you share your heating and feeding regimes across the year for good growth and colours? Tell you what, Caroline, rather than take any time up on here for that one, I'm going to refer you to, if you have a look on the channel in the Secrets of Koi Keeping, I'm sure there's a deep dive video on that in there, and plenty of other video if you have a search through as well. So I'd recommend those, because you can get right into it, and there'll be nothing new as of today I would want to add to what's been said and done there already. Always look forward to your videos. Check daily for any new ones. I just watched your latest regarding the 1,200 gallon pond with the crashes. I'm planning my future bigger pond, but right now I have roughly 800 gallons. Would you recommend any prefab moving beds or DIYs and add on to my current system of bio balls? Metala bio steps, added static K1 to that. Absolutely. If you can cram more on, all the better. That is one of the reasons I can extract the performance out of that 1,200 gallon pond. If you think about it, how an initial Nexus is sold with 50 litres of media, it's the equivalent of 6 of those running in that respect. So yeah, and a lot of it is about the way you might manipulate the water and get the environment set. You keep on top of the maintenance really well. But yeah, K1 and the fluid bed, the ability of the fluid bed, especially now with the K plus, my God, have I seen a difference in how that gets the biofilm adhering and growing on the inside versus the original. because I've got Pond 10, the Nexus I run on there, which had original K1, the K Plus next to it. I cannot believe the difference. It was after a dose of PP, but how it's left biofilm on it after, and the development of that has been absolutely nuts. So highly recommend that. And K Plus so far from what I've seen, I'm very, very pleased with it and how it seems to be performing. Pleasure. Thank you very much. Bill, evening. When do koi stop growing, if ever? Always. You feed Hikari all seasons. Would you feed Hikari all seasons unheated? If so, how much? They've been on Hikari growth and colour for 4 months. Fantastic, Bill. So what? Yes, they will stop growing at some point. That's generally governed by genetics, but also environment will play a part in that. And, you know, you might impact that by, say, if it's not had enough growth through like a 3 or those first 3 years more than anything, you might have took away some of those centimeters it could have potentially reached later in life. But fish like that, if you all of a sudden introduce them, you know, within a set period to a new environment, you can tend to find they have a spurt again after that. So, yeah, it's multi-layered, that question, but they will stop growing. I've literally seen it with some bloodlines. They get to a certain size and just fall off a cliff. It's crazy. So, but yeah, but that limitation is the biggest part. And that's not always necessarily, you know, deep back in the bloodline. I tend to look at the actual male-female parent set, especially the female part, to know what size potential there might be within it. Oh, sorry, food. Yeah, so sake all season. I've always claimed it. I'm not a big fan of sake multi-season. Again, I like to use that one because it just goes to show that if I was that much bought in and promoting and plugging the shit, as some people seem to think, then I'd be all over that. But I'm not. I don't actually rate it. I still stand by that and other wheat germ products are just commercial foods that were made in order to sell fish food to you guys in winter. Generally, as the temps get down, is kind of hit 12 degrees. I'm comfortable just feeding a bit of balance because I'll only be feeding such a small amount. And then when you get dropping below that, I'm really not looking at feeding all that much, if anything whatsoever, because I'm more worried about the filter's performance than anything else. There's such a negligible amount of food going in, so long as it's not really, really high fat, which balance isn't. That tends to be growth foods. You'll be absolutely fine with that one. Colin, evening all. Based on genetics, will a koi reach the same potential in an unheated pond as in a summer heated pond, but just take longer? I'm going to say no on that one, Colin. There might be someone that wants to argue otherwise. The reason being is, as I've just said on the previous bit, what you tend to find is that you want the first kind of 3 years of life to really set the bone structure out. And in order to max out, because it's all right, a fish having, say, 80, 85 cm potential, you have got to get it there. Now, yes, if the genetic potential is there, it's a case of you eking it out. But what I've seen many times over the years, and this is why if you're looking at your ponds and your fish, maybe unheated ones, fish you've had for a long time where you think that's not really growing a bit, and it tends to just get more fat than anything, that's because what's happened is it's not grown at a quick enough rate to really start maxing out the bone structure. And what's happened is the bone structure is kind of setting, its potential for growth is slowing right down, and they're tending just to put more weight on a bone structure that doesn't really want to move anymore. And that's where you do see a lot of those bad rugby ball shapes and that bit of a gut and belly forming and stuff like that. Now, that's not to say with a lot of them, if then you move them to the heated conditions, you probably would start pushing some extra centimeters, as long as it's not got really old and it's like that. But ultimately, it will slow it down, and the chances of actually maxing that fish out will have gone away. Not to say you can't get a little bit more on them. How are you finding the early stage of your design? Filter and media, anything notable so far? I'm loving it. Absolutely loving it. The brush chamber's working very efficiently. The water clarity, I should probably share that with you at some point, is absolutely phenomenal. From a top view, I will say that. I think I've ranted about windows and particles and how windows have made everyone obsessed with shit in water you wouldn't necessarily see looking from top view. But yeah, it looks awesome. I have just started ramping now. All the heat's back on and firing. There's a batch of fish in there that I'm actually keeping set aside to list to enter into the koi show we're going to be hosting in November. And I've just started ramping up the feed on them to put it through its paces. I've now got the chamber up to 100 litres of K plus as well. So it's all set to put it through its paces and see how it does. And see how quick it takes me to trash the water, but ultimately what I can raise through it and how easy it is to manage. So far, dumping that brush chamber with how it's done is just the easiest thing. When we're doing it on a regular basis, there is a point where you kind of need to pull it out and give it a bit more of an in-depth clean. And I still will stand by. It's not a glamorous job. Some people will love it. Others will just not want that in their life whatsoever. The thing I do love about it, however, is it just cannot break. And in it cannot breaking gives me the ultimate stability and predictability, which is a massive part of my philosophy of keep it simple. That approach stops. And I'm victim of this right now. Again, I've got a pond of some of my best fish been offline for a long time because the drum's fucked, the motor's seized, the part that comes that I need, the manufacturer's changed them, and I actually have to have them altered, and getting that done has proven to be a massive pain in the arse. So very frustrating. So when you compare the two there, look where it's cost me. That pond's been offline for the best part of a month now, possibly even more. All that lost growth, the biofilter is going to be absolutely fucked when it fires back up. I'm going to be restarting everything there in that respect. Savage. It's really, really savage. So even, what benefits that drum might bring, if we take this over a 12-month period, say, for example, I guarantee you those 1,200 gallon ponds with the brushes, or even that system we're talking about, is going to achieve more because of its consistency. Thank you very much, Julian. I want fishing for compliments with all that, by the way. I just, when I was driving it, I thought, you know what? I'm just going to fucking throw it out there. It might make me feel a little bit better about it all. But I was already feeling a bit better about it all, hence getting this bit done today. And yeah, let's go for it. Right. Let me follow me thread again there. You keep being you, keep showing how it's done, mate. We all learn a lot from you, even Mr. He does crack me up with that, bless him. To be fair, it's been nice teaching him. Sato was the guy at NND. He's an amazing person. He really is. And I've watched his development in the past few years. Fujo has been putting a lot into him. And he's been helping me. All the nettings of my mud pond has been with him. And even he's taught me some phenomenal, ways for netting, which have been great. Them seine nets are not as easy as they look. And in turn shared some stuff on my koi keeping philosophies with him and bits that he's found really interesting. So it's a great guy, and it's amazing to share them kind of experiences. Scott, I've looked at loads of content and your experience and approach to the best. Thanks for sharing your passion. Wish California wasn't so far from the UK. Me too, mate. Could do a bit of that sunshine now. Thank you very much for that, Scott. Let's have a look. Mickey, carry on with what you're doing. The content regards your journals are always very informative, interesting, and the live talks very helpful. Appreciate that, Mickey. Yeah, it's an interesting one. Ricky, you just described exactly why I deleted all my social media account. Life's great. Now I'm going to share it, and I feel like a hypocrite for sharing this, but I just had to do it because there was a period as well, a couple of times this year, where I really just had to zone out from it all, especially koi stuff. You know what it's like, these algorithms. You watch a video before you're seeing 50 different thumbnails for other ones, and you've got to craft it back. So my YouTube feed is quite an interesting one at the moment. Some interesting characters on there, to say the least. A lot of Man United shite, and then other businessy types and social media gurus and all this shit. But Facebook was a big one for me. I really zoomed out of it and just I actually deleted the main Facebook app off of my feed and just went into managing my page and staying within my own little bubble and community on that bit, because, and I've not looked back from that one. I really haven't. It's an interesting, and I think social media might be heading to a point now where it's ready to kind of go pop, bang, whatever you want to call it. Like I say, there's such an oversaturation of content across everything. You look at the numbers; they're just going absolutely crazy. There's either that or something big will come in and change it up, mix it up. Who knows? But I think it's ready for a bit of something. Keep it simple. Yes, absolutely. Umbakoy, good evening. Fair enough. I can take it. Dear. There we go. That one that cracked me up. Absolutely. Don't get enough of them. Feel you like that one. David, the PP video, I think I said last time, mate, I'm just waiting on execution on that one. I want to make sure that hits properly and, time invested, it gets the distribution that it'll warrant and get seen with enough eyes. So coming soon, mate, coming soon. Yes, Susan, that's where I'm always at. Probably just been a little bit too much of a caged animal recently, dropping into being a bit... anyway, fuck it. I can't be asked to go on about that again. BP, want the magazine back? Yes, absolutely. Hey, I don't usually comment on things like this. Just want to say huge thank you. When I started my pond, had no clue what I was doing, but watching your videos has taught me lots. Yes, amazing to hear that. It really is. Ricky, do enjoy the videos, especially with you and your daughter out in Japan. Yeah, weren't that amazing? That honestly was just an epic week to spend with her, and so amazing to be able to get to share that experience with them, and them to be able to see what Dad is, vanishing off and doing on the other side of the world as well. And the guys all love it. All the NND guys, Takano, as much as he's a bit of a ruthless fucker at times, he absolutely adores the kids. He has done with both of them, been amazing. So awesome. Appreciate that. Yeah. Couldn't believe it when I found out you're just down the road from me, literally about 50 seconds away. Really? I kind of freaked out. That's too Japanese. It's on Little Britain. Whereabouts that there? In Retford, I presume, or the fish farm. Don't worry, I'm not going to start it. But if ever into you, I'll definitely come say hi and shake hands. Absolutely, go for it. Yes. Hey, Ricky, do you have any information on making praziquantal dosed food, either dosing pellets or making a ground up cooked fish based paste? No, unfortunately, I don't. That feels like an absolute load of faff for me. So not something I would get involved in to be able to give you the information. Happy days. Yes, Mickey, we did, mate. And you've only got to look at the stats, right? I don't care what anyone says, just look at the stats. When they actually learn to put the ball in the back of the net, you lot are all screwed. All the shit, all the banter, it's just going to vanish, go away. We'll be back. Absolutely back. Like Koito, we'll be back. Yes, Tony, absolutely, mate. Dear. There we go. Kev's got a good one. Hit that like button, ladies and gents. Hit that like button. Amazing. We've had pretty much consistent 150 of you in all night. That's absolutely epic. Yeah, 100%. They were, looking back, that's been missing in the wider ecosystem of content that I was producing. I actually having a look the other night, and they were so topical and in depth. So can't wait to get that fired back up ASAP as well on that one. Stuart learned so much from Question Time watching your videos. 2 years into, I'll be enjoying it, keeping it simple. Amazing to hear it. Isn't that crazy as well? Episode, I swear I fucked that up as well. 121. I thought it was 122 earlier. When I copy and paste it in, I do forget to change it sometimes. But yeah, there we go. Anyway, it's a lot. Really a lot. That was a little while ago, that one. I actually had a bit of a ramble on TikTok again as well about traders, and it was actually an appreciation post for the good tradespeople out there as well, because having just been bit by an absolute shiter of one that I'm now having to battle to recover from, let's say. Amazing when you get the good ones and the bad ones. I can't imagine existing in that world where, again, there is so many people doing a shit job, and that just reflects down on the guys doing good jobs. So again, I'll say it on here, we're on it, love to all those guys who are out there doing amazing jobs for people on a daily basis. And I think the tone on the message was kind of fuck you to all the cowboys. It's no good. Dear. Now we're getting into just a few bits there about the Toyota showers. Yeah, there's a guy, and Doc Johnson. I believe, is he on YouTube, Robert? I think he is. I'd love to. I should probably tune in and get him up and start watching a few of his stuff. Again, a guy, a lot of early knowledge I picked up from his book. Absolutely fascinating. Koi Health and Disease by Dr. Eric Johnson. Loved it. That was back then. That book was such a breath of fresh air compared to all the other stuff as well. You could just tell the guy's there as a practitioner. He's got his hands in the water. You know, that's the way he's learning and finding out. And he's got the letters after his name to actually back up the shit that he was writing about as well. Your ponds in your greenhouse, how deep are they? Did you build the ponds first, then the polytunnels? Yes, ponds went up first, polytunnel went over. The majority of them are about 1 meter to 1.2 at the absolute most. Susan, I must say, Ricky, I used to feel ashamed with my DIY filter system because everyone was talking up drums. Now you'll keep it simple. I'm proud of myself. Do you know what, Susan? That has absolutely made my day, you saying that, because yes, that was another kind of side of the job I felt like I wanted to fight against, the snobbery that you can get caught in such circles where you're made to feel shit because you've gone the DIY route or you haven't got X, Y, or Z drum filter and stuff like that. Honestly, I've been around it and seen it for years. I fucking loathe it. So that is amazing to hear, Susan. It really is. And just tested your water and all is spot on. Amazing stuff. There we go. Look, not the only one. To be honest with you, you might want to skip the first half an hour, in all fairness. Dear. Oh, there we go. Look, unheated results video out. That, I'm sure that'll be very interesting. There we go. A little conversation going on about that as well. And again, yeah, not about affording it. And I'm completely with that. Really completely with that. Must say though, just for balance, there's a system I'm currently testing, a drum filter that I believe, if I was to go down the route of having them, would be the brand I would choose. And I've been having a bit of a play with that. And I must say, as a piece of equipment, I'm impressed. I think I am finding out where it kind of falls short, how I use a pond. But as a drum for people wanting them, that is why I wanted to do that, finding it great. So a little bit later in the year, I'm going to have a full report on that one for you coming. And again, a company there willing to put their money where their mouth is and back it up as well, which we don't see enough. Who is the best breeder of Macassiogan and Jumbo Tosai, please? Well, Susie, I'd recommend probably dropping the Jumbo part because Macashies and most lineages tend to grow well. Sorry, it's Jumbo Tosai. It could just be how they raise them. Depends what you're looking for. If outright size is the one, Marido, Marseille, 100% for that one, or Marihero. I'd probably say Marido has got just crazy genetics in there, and Marseille with single color stuff goes way back. So they're the two I'd put top. Then, if you want to go a little bit different, we've had the ones from Saito this year, which share similar genetics. Now, they have a lot of Marido DNA in them anyway, which is cool, but they share the same genetics to the Shunku that he's created, and they have, honest to God, the most unique color, completely different body power, and they can get size. You know, I've got one swimming around that must be getting close to tipping 80 centimeters now. Really like it. So depends what you're looking for. Either or there for me in that respect. I see someone there just mentioning Sakai Silver Fox. However, the production of that stuff, let's see if anything comes back this year. As of, or next year, end of this year into next, from this year's spawnings. But as of last year, from last year's spawnings, there was no mango anymore, that production. And actually, I pulled out a catalogue because they will have the ability to produce that, by the way. But I always stand by, I think the end goal with a lot of that stuff was to add some foreign blood in of considerable size to dilute the blood within their Gosanki lines to produce new Gosanki parents. And when you see one of the Sakai fish parent catalogue and follow it down, that's exactly the point they've got to. So whether or not they just weren't successful or didn't bother, they might bring it back this year. Who knows? I hope they do. Like with the Silver Fox, I never even got to have a play with them before they kind of packed it up. So we'll find out. But coming back to your bit, Susie, 100% for me, Marido, Marseille, Sakai Silver Fox, if you could get it, yes. And if you want something a bit different, honestly, that stuff that Saito does is just absolutely dreamy. Ricky, do you know much about lineage of Beppu Gosanki? No, not in depth. I know obviously Sakai is quite a big part of it. Beppu, I believe, was a very important Sakai employee before they branched off and did their own thing. So naturally, when that tends to happen, like with Dainichi Obi-Kai guys, they tend to go down the route of using a lot of that blood from where they've trained because they have such a deep understanding of it. From there on in, I can't really add any more to that. I've only ever had their fish in once, and I've never even been to the farm yet. It's kind of one on the list. It's really out of the way. And just within the plans of what I've got at the moment, I'm not necessarily seeing a big fit for it or anything there that's really drawing me to it. So sorry, I can't add any more on that one for you, pal. Martin Buck, hi Ricky, currently sat at 20C, heated, salted, 0.3, had issues with ulcer, fin sores, been using Virkon now, start healing, ulcer skinning over, anything else I should do to improve healing? I'd probably stick with what you're doing, Martin, right now. If you've actually got them at the point where it's healing, mate, stick to what you're doing. Don't add any more new fishing. Don't do anything that could rock the boat in that respect. Keep it all steady and just keep going as you are until you've got a real thick skin developed on them and absolutely no signs of any infection. When you've got to a point where you see no signs or trace of any new infection and things well healed, give it around 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, and then look to introduce something new if that's on your mind or something you're wanting to do as a naive fish to make sure you're truly over the problem. If it's not, then you might want to start, look to winding that temperature off a little bit, but it would just be worth a bit of a stress test on there to make sure you are properly over it, but give it enough time. Evening, Alan. All right, now we've got, look, you could lose me for another half hour here. You should say I actually shared it on the Telegram group. So the fish tank obsession, my goodness. So I've currently we've got up to me and Arthur 10 tanks in the garage. I've got one up at the fish farm. He's got 3 in his bedroom, 2 fighter tanks and a little community tank as well. And it's just, I've been feeling your pain. I tell you why I've loved this so much is because it's really helped me kind of put me on your side of the fence a bit more as fish hobbyists and understanding, the joy of those visits to the fish shop when space runs out, the frustrations, all the rest of it. So I've had a joiner in all week, the same guy that's going to be knocking the studio together here. He's been at my home in the garage, boarded all my roof out, which has been amazing. So I'm able to get all the crap up there. And he's currently building me a fish room in the back corner of the garage, which should enable, I reckon, anywhere in the region of about another 10 to maybe 16 tanks if I go with what I'm thinking. It's bad. It's really bad, I tell you. But yeah, the Plek bit. Zeb colony is going well. Got 10 in the Zeb colony now, 10 in the Super White colony, 10 of the L333s. Loving every minute of that. And you know what, as well, I can sit there in my little chair watching all them swim around. I swear to God, I'm not far off falling asleep. Absolutely love it. And it's been nice to engage with it from that hobby perspective as well. So, and they've loved the courgette ray, by the way. Absolutely loved it. Evening, Ricky. Are there breeders that specialise in Kage? And that is actually how that's pronounced, by the way. I know it tends to be said Kage over here, but Kage is how it was actually pronounced in Japan. Kage Shirotsuri, or they like a byproduct of breeding Shirotsuri. No, so yeah, Otsuka, absolutely one of you guys. You get the odd one from Hosakai as well, but Otsuka is absolutely a guy for those. There's someone else as well, and it's not coming to me. But when I think of those varieties, he's the person I think of straight away, and he's doing it across all the Utsuri variants now as well. He's a phenomenal guy, and it's basically all of the Asagi, Monbei Asagi blood passing through them as well. So you see that giant face character in them. I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. What are the benefits of degassing in the pond? Yeah, getting carbon dioxide off is a massive one. Nitrogen as well, but the big one for me is getting carbon dioxide off the water and out the water. And it's not just about degassing, it's a problem for me in the greenhouses, and it's something I'm looking to address because I don't have enough air movement when it's warm. So just as with oxygen, I think a few people are actually confused with how oxygen actually gets into the water. And ultimately, when you're driving it in with your air pump, you're not pumping pure oxygen in there. You're pumping air out the atmosphere, which 20% of that is oxygen. And it doesn't all actually gas into the water at that point either. Gas exchange generally happens at the surface. And what you're doing with your air pump is driving increasing surface area and mixing water more than anything to improve that gas exchange at the surface. But what it relies on is having good quality air at the surface to get the oxygen gassed in at the surface as well. So you can imagine in the greenhouses that air gets so hot and stale, and everything that is coming off the pond, we're not getting the air pulled through enough. So currently looking into a big fan setup in there ready for next summer as I get all new doors and windows, because honestly, it looks like it's been battered. I'm going to get to the bottom of this before we pack up tonight, guys, as well, seeing as though I robbed you of half an hour at the beginning rambling on. So, but I'd appreciate it. I'm not sure. I'm quite a bit off the bottom. So, yeah, let's try and leave it there. Hi, Ricky. If a koi has great genetics and the first 3 years are most important for growth, if that koi is started off as Chibi Nisai for the first 2 years, will that fish catch on? But yeah, when you think about it, Chibi Nisai, so you're going to be able to watch this again. I've got a phenomenal batch of DK Shiros you might have saw I obtained on my last trip. Very small Nisai. I've done it with the Kawa Shiros. By spring, I will have them at exactly the same size Nisai as stuff getting harvested bigger now during this autumn harvest. So it's not necessarily forget, Nisai right now, technically kind of 18 months old as they're going to get called from next month as all the harvesting starts. Yes. So no, I can catch that up properly during that period, get them right back on track. There's an argument, and I've seen it happen with jumbo tosai. I've seen, big 50 centimeter jumbo tosai get harvested at Nisai and only be 55 cm. Sometimes there's only so far they can go. And ultimately, all you're doing in that raising technique is getting it to that end goal, that genetic limitation quicker. And then there's potentially downsides that come with that as well. So it's always an interesting one. But yeah, ultimately you can catch it up, from that. So you basically through to Sanzai, you've got them first 2 or 3 from it being spawned, first, 3 big summers of growth, so to speak. And it's then where you really want to just be, maxing out if you can. But like I say, all is not lost. You just need to make the most of that time period. If you're unheated, do what you can. And, if the genetic potential is there, you will still do well with the fish. I don't want you to think that you won't. Scott, my well water 6.4 pH KH5 drops. I've always buttered with baking soda to 8 to 10 drops KH due to low pH. I'm in a volcanic area that creates acidity. Recently, I added about 1 cubic meter of whole oyster shells to my filtration. It's a 12k gallon pond. I was wondering if my water will stabilize around 774 if I rely on oyster shells for buffering. I do about a 25% water change. I think one of the things you might benefit there from, Scott, is if you could, is letting your well water come up and actually stabilize a little bit before you use it. Might be beneficial. But again, even at a pH 6.4, if you're getting it stable, you'd keep them there because you've got your KH of 5. That's quite an interesting dynamic. It's why I seem to think if you kind of get it up, get the water moving, gassing, you might tend to find it stables out a bit better with your pH. So with the KH there, if you just get a bit of buffering in that, you don't need to be getting it up to 8 to 10 with your buffering. You can make a stable KH of 5 work. It's all about keeping that pH stable. Do you have big pH swings? I think there's a bit more to that there than obsessing over the numbers. If you've got pH of 6.4 and no KH, obviously your water is really, really vulnerable to just crashing constantly. And if you've got well water, 6.4 KH of 5, if you've got some system where you could potentially bring it up, you might just get a bit of raise in it and keep enough of that water just through your system. If it's good quality water, there's no metals problems or anything in it. If it's good quality water and you can keep it stabilized that way. Oyster shells don't always necessarily raise it. They tend to stabilize it more by helping mop up your free acid in your water. Working on it, Robert. It's on there on the plans. What ultimately has got to happen with this is my ambitions in Japan have got to be realized first, which will unlock the key. And if we can find a decent partnership along the way, you might tend to find that would possibly happen sooner rather than later. Evening all. Ricky, where do you stand with fish releasing a hormone which blocks koi growth? Your ponds certainly don't like growth, and I'm right in saying you do minimal. Exactly that, Graham. Somebody asked me that, actually, I think on a YouTube comment I need to reply to, and that was just kind of one of them. We could have an argument about if it's right or wrong all day long. One would say this, one would say that. As I always do, the proof is right in the pudding. It is right there. 1,200 gallon pond. Minimal water changing, and that's raised Karashi from 12 to 15 cm to over 50 cm with a huge stocking level. So hopefully, Graham, that video is proof enough and gives you all the questions that you want in that respect. Could be true, Mickey. It could be true, mate. There's just not enough of that stuff in the UK. Good ones either. We're getting merch in the UK. You know what? There is no merch at the moment. We're getting very closer with that one as well. Obviously got kind of Christmas in mind with that period coming up. So stay tuned, guys. I think we're gonna have the first bits. So like I said, I'm very clear now. I've been tested it all for a long time with the ranges and bits that I chose. I know the items. It's a bit of tweaks on designs, and away we go. Oh, there we go, buddy. You are close. Very, very close. Ever considered follow-up videos of your fish? Some of the videos, video snips on WhatsApp channel have shown amazing ponds where they have ended up. Yeah, that'd be amazing. I mean, anybody ever wants to send anything like that in, we're actually working. We're going to do a lot more on following and releasing kind of details on fish that we're growing. I just feel the need to do that, given that now there seems to be, again, a bit of a craze on a lot of other people offering growing services and all the rest of it, which, again, some are truly laughable given the individuals offering them. But I think it's just there to show a reminder that it's of what it's actually all about and the results that are being delivered for customers time and time again. Because we've got some insane results coming up with some insane fish as well. I know there's going to be a lot of very, very happy customers that have had fish with me in the summer. So, yeah, I think as a kind of integration into some of the journal videos, see a lot more of that, because we have actually started this year. We made an effort to get a few more records beforehand as well, to actually be able to share as content some of that progression through, which I think is going to be really interesting to look back on. Hi, Ricky. Who's the best breeder for a Kajaku? Is there anything to look for out and selecting one? It's Omasako. I can't. Or Konishi, to be fair, but that's going to be harder to get in the UK. But Omasako, hands down. And it's all about, I think the bit overlooked with Kajaku is shine. Shine quality is everything in the fin's head. Doesn't always necessarily mean pure white, clean head and fins. That's very, very hard to achieve. But quality of that shine, Matsubamon, all the rest of it is where, but not an easy one to achieve that, Daniel. They're a challenging fish and come with a price tag. Ever had a crash, you go lose colour? I have one. As it's growing, the colour is pulling apart and going white in between. Looks more like a golden corn. No, Rory, I've not, but I would be interested to know a bit more about its genetics there, because that might shed a little bit of light on what's happening. Yes, absolutely. So that's another bit coming up, as well as the release of the higher end bits, Miss Toyota fish, I'm going to be doing. There is a number from the spawning that are now in the UK that I shipped back, that Marcus took some, and a load of other dealers that we deal with are going to be having them soon. So there's actually going to be a number of those highly affordable ones in stores where you're actually going to be able to go and see them in the flesh and pick the ones that you want as well, which is going to be really, really cool. Glad to hear it. Absolutely. They're going to be right back on top, buddy. Yes, Johnny, some fish do make posts of fish. A lot of them, some of them do, that not a lot. It's not a wide practice. But yeah, they've often, there was a time period where the fry that were cold, they would make back into a food, because obviously fish meal is the primary protein source of a lot. Then other breeders you get to see will actually take the branded food that they're using and actually just soak it and make it into a paste, spice it up with a few more ingredients, but you don't get too many. How do I get Ricky Stoddart to go in the US and Ricky stay true to himself? Always, mate, and just bear with us on that one. We will get there. What's the best way to deal with thin rock mouth rods? I have two smaller coils, so come down with it in a quarantine tank. Robert, I'd refer you, if you look back a few episodes on the live feed of the channel, right there, I think you're going to see a video about dealing with this kind of stuff. I'd point you in that direction on that. It's very, very in-depth. And David, no, you've not missed the 10,000 subscriber. There's a pile of stuff right here in front of me. We're getting that done next week. I'm going to get you all them prizes that were promised. There's a whole heap of stuff. I've been bringing stuff back from Japan with me, whole host of it. So stay tuned and look out for that one getting scheduled in. Size of air bubbles are critical for oxygenating the water. Smaller the better. Yeah, the interesting point of it, Stuart, though, obviously, you know, trying to actually physically gas more in at that point when you're doing it through pulling air in. You know, naturally, 70% of that is nitrogen as well, which we'd rather not be in the water. It's a curious one, that is. But do agree, smaller bubbles will help increase saturation before it all just gets up to the surface. But what are we actually trying to gas into the water? And that was a conversation I had with a man who knows a lot about that stuff. Let me tell you, blew my mind to bits. Right, guys, I'm just seeing what time it is, and I'm getting very, very hungry. We'll be doing guided tours in Japan in future. Sean, there is very in-depth discussions on that as ever. Not something I'm going to rush into. Again, I look at that and how it's being done and see a lot of ways that could be improved. So we're looking into it. And again, there's another couple of pieces of the jigsaw we just need in place behind the scenes first. But yeah, you'll no doubt see that coming at some point. Harry, hope you expand your core sales into USA soon. Love watching all your videos. My husband says he hears your voice so much. It's like you live with us. I've heard that a few times as well. Ah, dear. And then Mickey, how's your Matscar back? Has it grown? Of course it's grown, mate. Absolutely epic. Sumi, we've got a bit to do with that, pal, but no, looking superb. And then last one just coming from Lee. What's your view on treats? I use sake curry and occasionally add fresh orange juice. It seems to have a positive effect, but don't understand not to use it regularly. Lee, I would say there'd be no negative downside to it if it's something you want to do. If you were kind of going down that route, having a play with it, there are some things you can add to it. You don't necessarily need to using sake. That's the point. They do enough, but there'd be no negatives to it as far as I'm concerned. It just depends, how you feel about putting the time and effort into that one, pal. So there we are, ladies and gents. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and for suffering through me having a rant. But I think it was good to get it off me chest. And just stay tuned, ladies and gents. I know we often probably find to talk about a lot of stuff, but all the ideas, they often do get done, they get delivered. It just takes time. And as I've learned, one of the biggest parts in all this is actually getting the people in order to continue executing it. So I don't just take it all on myself, because that's ultimately when it can lead to it not being as sustainable long term. So fingers crossed next week's interviewing goes well. And like I say, some of that stuff going on, it's going to be an exciting end to 2025, and I think then even more exciting into 26. And long may keep it simple. Go on, be that voice in the back of your head. I'm here. Let's keep pushing it and cut through all that bullshit big time. Enjoy the rest of your evening, ladies and gents, and hopefully I will see you next week.